Field is an array of activity prior to the opening of the gates.
I want you to go to the fourth one, which should be number 7.
This is also the ideal time for players like Kevin Tappaney to arrive.
You should get here to Wrigley Field about 5 hours before the game starts. Get batting practice, pregame conditioning. Basically just pull in, get here. It's still kind of quiet this time of the morning. Nobody's here, so pull in the parking lot and head down, get some breakfast for all the day games here, and get the day started.
Aside from his baseball-related responsibilities, Kevin understands that timing is crucial when it comes to working at Wrigley Field.
If you're kind of running late at Wrigley, you don't get in. All the streets kind of shut down out there with all the people showing up. Gates usually open a couple hours before the game starts, so if you wait and try and get here that late, even if you're starting that day, it's kind of tough to get around down here.
5 hours before game time may seem early, but in order for Wrigley Field to function properly, the preparation involved is an ongoing process. Tom Heldman, the Cubs clubhouse manager, better known as Odie, oversees the locker room and clubhouse facility, ensuring that it meets all professional baseball standards.
Ordering for uniforms, bats, their long underwear, hats, the whole, you name it, we order it, helmets. So we get all ready and we start getting ready for spring training. It's a continuing process. It's a year-round job and I love it. Wouldn't want to do anything else. And tell him we will measure on Friday, tell him in Philadelphia, and he'll be able to get more stuff.
A year-round job with infinite hours and multiple responsibilities.
A day game, we're here at 6:30 in the morning for a 1:20 game. I do a lot of cooking, so we feed the players when they get here. They have breakfast when they get here, when they get off the field from batting practice. We have lunch for them, and then we have something to eat for them afterwards. This is our lunchroom here, the Players Lounge, where they come in and eat. We have assortment of things to eat here. Gary's putting away the cereal right now from the breakfast, and then we're going to be getting ready for lunch. Today we're going to have hot roast beef sandwiches, like French dip type deal, and salad and soup. And then we'll clean that up once the game starts and get ready for dinner.
Odie is entirely in his domain when he's inside the clubhouse. If a player needed anything, Odie would be the go-to guy.
We set this up in the locker room during the games where the guys can come in and take kind of batting practice. They hit off of a batting tee into the net. We had a few times last year they missed the net and hit the clock, broke the clock a couple times. We unpack the players' bags. You can see the bags are on top there. We'll take a quick shot of the trainer's room when we get back here. You can look through the door here. They don't really want us back there, so we can just take a shot in there. And that's the trainer's room. You can see part of it there. Our towels and the showers, if you want to go in there. Let them get on there.
We're working.
All right. Now let's come back this way with me. This is where not too many people see it. We have our uniforms back here. And this will all be straightened out once we get out of town and stuff. Here's our bat rack, all the players' bats. We have flower seeds, more shaving stuff. And here's where we have the bats, the guys, the game bats that they use day to day. This is the tunnel. Here's the way out to the dugout. Hello, guys. We're in the dugout now. But here we are in beautiful Wrigley Field. We're going to be flying the pennant next year. After we win it this year, we're going to have flying a new flag saying World Champs.
While Odie is tending to the Cubs, Jimmy Farrell, the clubhouse manager for the umpires at Wrigley Field, is making sure that all the umpires have to worry about is calling the game.
When they come in, you make them something to eat or something like that before the game time. Afterwards, the same thing, you know.
Besides assisting the umpires, Jimmy's most important task involves the baseballs.
You rub them up good. And this is the Mississippi mud we rub it up with. And we take the shine off of it. Rub them up good. So as you can see, the shine's off. You know, this way the batter can see it. If it's in the sunlight, the pitcher can grip it. You know. And we have 72 of them. And there's 72 baseballs we bring out in the field to start the game. We got 5 extra boxes in the clubhouse. We should need it.
The application of Mississippi mud dates back to the origins of baseball, and through his work, Jimmy continues the long-standing tradition.
It was always Mississippi mud for as long as I can remember, you know. And I've been here 19 years. It's always been shipped in from Mississippi. So I think it's $40 a can.
.355 to left, .353 to right, and .400 to straightaway center. Within these dimensions lie 4,000 yards of soil and 4 acres of Kentucky bluegrass, with Japanese bittersweet plants and Boston ivy lacing the brick facade. Roger Baird, the head's groundskeeper, and his crew work diligently, assuring that Wrigley Field remains beautiful. Although the baseball season may end in October, there's no off-season for this grounds crew.
Basically, right now we're setting up the hitting tee net. Guys to warm up before they hit. Basically, put a little teer and practice a little bit of hitting into the net. In the fall, we try to get as much work as we can. If we do any little bit of sodding, we do it in the fall before winter really hits in here in Chicago. Your lawn gets a little bit of lumpy, so there's a lot of rolling involved to make a field nice and smooth. Cutting, we try to get out as early as we can and start cutting. That actually helps things get things growing.
Once the season begins and the Cubs are at home, the crew's job doesn't get any easier.
Today I was here roughly about 5:30, 5:45 this morning. My guys started about 6:45 this morning. As you can see, looking at the field, all the screens have been brought out. The lines have been marked. My infield has been dragged umpteen times over my skin area with a nail drag, a special homemade nail drag we do to loosen up the top. It's my my backyard here. I got to come in, I got to do the watering, cutting. I put anywhere from probably 12 to 15 hours a day in. From here until October, I'll probably take about 3 days off.
We'll repair anything that's broken, you know, seats or anything, doors, whatever breaks in the ballpark, we'll fix it. Change the number on this one because this is an old one. Maybe somebody broke it off or stole it, you know, and so we gotta change it during the game sometimes, and if nobody catches it, you know. And those are the emergency rush repairs. We don't like to do that, but if it's got to be done, we'll do it.
We do a little bit of everything here. Keep trying to keep Wrigley beautiful.
Aside from the daily maintenance, color and design are subjects Roger knows all too well. He's often asked, how do you keep the grass looking so beautiful?
It's all natural, but the striping pattern in my grass, it's basically done with my lawnmower. Here we stay with the famous the checkerboard is our pattern out here. It's tradition. I feel that the checkerboard pattern should stay here. You see a lot of these other parks that have got some real interesting designs in their lawn.
We all hate the Mets! We all hate the Mets! We all hate the Mets!
When the game begins, the grounds crew continues working. Deep in the catacombs of the scoreboard, a trio of Roger's staff has the daunting task of manning the entire structure.
It's a manual scoreboard. 3 guys actually, sit up there. There's 2 guys that do the Cub game. 1 guy constantly keeping an eye on the ball game while the other guy is changing plates. And then we have one other guy, Brian, who takes care of the top 2 floors, and we have a ticker machine up there, and that's where he gets the scores come across a ticker machine.
The scoreboard also informs those outside the park as to the events that have unfolded inside.
The flags display the National League standings. Currently, there are 3 lines that come down the flagpole, 1 for each of the divisions. The team leading the division is the top of the flag, and on down to the last place team. At the end of a home game, Mr. Wrigley decided it'd be a nice idea that the people on the L track could know what the Cubs have done. So at the same time, they started a tradition of flying a 1-loss flag at the back of the scoreboard. You look up towards the scoreboard, and you know what the Cubs have done on that day.
Wrigley Field is consistently accommodating capacity crowds. Frank Maloney, director of ticket operations, along with the Ticket Sellers Union, facilitate the tickets to fans.
On a day early in the season like this, there's a lot of tickets available. We have about 15, 16, 17,000 tickets available today.
We have everything available just about.
So it's really not a problem, but we're just making sure that everything's ready at the window to go. The computers are operating properly.
What do you want to spend, $30 per ticket?
Now, as we get on later in the season, there isn't as many tickets available this early in the morning.
The quest for Cubs tickets can be a maze. Although a game may be announced as a sellout, Frank has his own criteria for what the true definition of a sellout is.
In my terminology, a sellout means we shut the windows, we have absolutely no tickets left to sell of any type. That may happen once, twice, maybe 3 times a year. Now, many times we sell all the seats, however. Then we go into what we call standing room tickets, and like I say, that usually occurs.
In the case of a standing room scenario, the chance for a great ticket still exists, whether a player has requested tickets and no longer needs them, or tickets purchased with a faulty credit card don't get distributed. Those excellent seats don't just wind up in the ticket abyss.
It's the best view in the park to see a baseball game, isn't it?
We release them in the computer system to the window. It's first come, first serve. It's the luck of the draw. So theoretically, you can walk up to our window someday, maybe 10 minutes after the game started, and pick up a wonderful ticket. It's possible.
As fans grow more insistent on becoming part of the action, their interactions with players has increased. Although most of the encounters are nothing more than verbal demonstrations, sometimes it can get a little rowdy. Danielle Alexa, operations manager at Wrigley Field, oversees the security effort so that the friendly confines remain so.
So there's about 30 people in our staff that are here pretty much 6 days a week from February 1st on. This is our women's locker room, and basically whenever our employees come in the morning, they come usually dressed in full uniform, and we give them lockers for them to put their coats and purses and other belongings in.
What I'm looking for basically is if someone tells me there's a problem someplace. For instance, we had a medical problem earlier. Someone had a seizure outside one of the gates. 911 was called. They responded fairly quickly.
Security at Wrigley Field is a 24-hour operation. On game days, the staggered shifts allow enough force to be present at all times.
9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, we have probably 200 employees that are walking around and, getting things ready for the day.
I want you to go to ramp stairs 3.
Technology makes it possible for Wrigley Field security to keep track of nearly 40,000 people. With 19 cameras positioned throughout the park and a full-time dispatch unit, assistance may be closer than you think.
This here is our closed-circuit television operation, and basically what it allows us to do is to monitor our seating areas, our gates, all of our access entries, and to assess any situations that might arise as quickly as possible. We have 19 different cameras that allow us to look at just about every possible angle of the ballpark and the surrounding gates and exterior areas as well. Our main goal is customer service and to provide a safe and happy atmosphere for our fans here at the Friendly Confines.
Sammy Sosa!
So a little Latin song for Sammy when he bats. I'm the organist for the Chicago Cubs since 1987.
About the safest feeling you can have at Wrigley Field is taking your seat and listening to Gary Pressey's mastery of the Wrigley Field organ. Besides years of piano lessons, Gary prepares for the season by watching SportsCenter.
Well, I watch the transactions of new players that we get during the season so I can match up the songs with the players.
Bill Miller!
So he'll announce the batter and then he'll give me like 5-second lead in, and I'll play a little tidbit for the ball player that matches his name or where he's from or what college he went to. But a lot of the music I play is updated, and also a lot of music is from the big band era because there's all sorts of people that come to Wrigley Field, young and old, so I try to please them all.
Gary is fulfilling a lifelong dream.
I always used to hear the organ in the background, and I said, boy, I would like to do that one day. It's my dream to play for a professional baseball team, and I'm so lucky that I fulfilled that ambition.
The same booth that provides the sound of Wrigley Field's organ also provides the public address voices of either Paul Friedman or Wayne Mesmer.
I'm doing night games and weekends here now. I now work as an account executive at a radio station in town.
I share the duties with a very talented guy named Paul Friedman, but I do the anthem, so when I'm doing opening day, I have to be out there for about an hour on the field.
Throughout the years, Wayne has inspired many Chicago sports fans with his patriotic rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner.
Because it is a war song, and you should be able to stand there and sing it proudly as a call to action, really. You know, it's the, oh, say, can you see? And then just, hopefully I'll get the you know, cobwebs out of there by then. But, you know, to just really belt it out. And Gary, our organist, plays so well and just supports it all. And I think that you want to bring the crowd to a swell where they say, let's play ball.
Now I'm going to introduce the team going on the field for the first time today. Now, taking the field, here come your Cubs! All the marketing efforts have to be done just by me reading them for the text, for the advertisements, which is different, I'd say, than any other. In fact, I'd say Wrigley Field is the only venue in professional sports anywhere in the world that doesn't have any advertising within the stadium and seating areas. When the Cubs hit a home run into the bleachers, you can become a Southwest Airlines Catch Your Dream winner. Here, let me get the first batter here. Leading off the game for the Dodgers, center fielder number 28, Tom Goodwin. Okay. Opposing players, I like to announce their names as if there's some horrible form of skin disease.
At a minute 40, I will tell Paul to announce the next batter in between innings. So that's our new clock, like maybe 40 years old. 20. Okay, go ahead.
Leading off the second inning for the Dodgers, right fielder number 15, Sean Green. Kind of sound like a skin disease, doesn't it? Sean Green.
Besides the PA and organ duties, the booth is responsible for another imperative function.
This is my 7th year, and it's the ideal retirement job. In later innings, we have to say 3 for 4, or 1 for 4, or 0 for 4, and that's the tough one to do. There's all kinds of trivia to put in the machine, batting averages, lineups, all the stuff that you've been watching me doing. We have to get ready almost about an hour before the game.
As message board operator, it would be easy for Les to take credit for the challenging trivia offered at Wrigley Field each day. However, he's quick to point out who really deserves the accolades.
I do all those trivia questions during the winter, in the off-season.
The organist, believe it or not, has to work during the winter to come up with all the trivia. And then as soon as the batter bats, I get his name in here and put the first trivia in, so the next time he bats, say Goodwin, he's got 50-plus stolen bases.
It's what you call little tidbits that we do.
Walking encyclopedia of baseball.
Things like this, for every day there's a different piece of trivia that goes on there, and there's like 7 or 8 different concepts during the game, in between innings, where we give trivia questions to the fans. Some of these things are impossible. I mean, I don't know how anyone would be able to get some of these.
And he works very diligently on that, and hopefully the people like it. But the organist doesn't. He's a very talented man.
Not only is this booth musically inclined, articulate, and intelligent, but their ability to estimate distance really takes them to the next level.
Sosa's up to bat, and I have Sosa's name on the board. And he hits the home run, so I hit the key F9. The PA announcer, I put in there home run and so forth. It goes up there, and I yell out, how many feet is it? And he has to tell me how many feet it is. And there's no radar gun strictly out there. 395 feet. Okay, Gary, we'll put that up there then. Go down 305. How far does it fly? 395 feet.
As historically preserved as Wrigley Field is, the modern era of sports demands certain amenities surely unforeseen by Wrigley Field's original designers.
First base, right behind home plate towards the first base side. So we'll be going in right now. We have approximately about 60 suites here, and we have about 55 leasers here. So we have about half a dozen suites that are used on a rental basis. So what we do is make sure that everything is ready before the game begins. Food, beverages, any special requests that they have, such as an on-field photo. We also have things such as a cocktail party for the leasers.
Wrigley Field was built for for the price of what it costs to lease just 3 corporate suites for the entire year.
It can range depending on what you get, but anywhere from about $87,000 to $116,000 was the cost for the entire season. The location is fabulous. It's right behind home plates. Great view. I like to make sure that everything's going all right. So I go especially to the rental, since they might be here just on a one-game basis, so I definitely want to make sure that they're having a great time. So how are all of you doing? Great. Good.
Throughout the game, not only will Lewis check up on many of his guests, but also on the high-energy catering operation.
Want to make sure everything is going well here, Mike?
Sure is. This is just where the hub where all the orders come through in the pantry, and as soon as we receive it from the phone, we send out all the food and beverage to all of our guests, and then accordingly, we have the dessert carts that goes out to all the suites and services all the desserts. So it's just a tremendous operation. It's intense, but it's like controlled fury.
Then we have taffy apples, gummy bears, M&Ms, taffy apples over here again.
So I just want to make sure everything is going well with them, make sure that they're happy, and attend to their needs.
The food in the seats at Wrigley Field is just as important as the food in the mezzanine suites.
With extra mustard.
With extra mustard? You got it.
Whether it's a ballpark hot dog, pretzels, or even an ice-cold beer, Wrigley Field is home to baseball's first permanent concession stand, and the staff makes sure fans get what they want.
We have over 300 people working here every game. This includes concessionaire and vending, so the people you see walking around the seats doing all the vending with the beer and the hot dogs.
2 exports.
Just everything's preparation, just everything, get everything ready, make sure we have staff, make sure everybody's cooking food, all the beer is running fine.
In the mornings, I get all the beer to all the stations, and then during the games, I make sure the beer keeps flowing.
Today I'll do about 400 hot dogs.
I hope I can do at least 200 or more.
Veteran beer vendor Bob Kosiba has seen his share of cold ones throughout his 19 years of pouring at Wrigley Field.
Who needs a cold beer here?
If there's 70 beer men on a sold-out crowd, we can do about an average of 20 each. So that's 1,400 cases of beer sold.
Beer cup holders.
We're talking for a crowd of 37,000, we might have 100,000 beers going on.
Stupidest question that I ever get. Stupidest question I ever get is, are those autographs really signed? What do the people think? The players sit in the locker room and sign autographed baseballs all day long? And you even get adults asking that question. That's the worst.
Mics are hot, and we're back on Chippy.
The introductions continue here at the ballpark on Chicago's north side. There's the skipper of the Cubs, Don Baylor, entering his second season. The story clearly so far this year for the Cubs has been outstanding starting pitching and great bullpen.
Operating both inside and outside of Wrigley Field is a broadcast crew responsible for bringing Wrigley Field into the homes of millions of viewers.
Come back. The man that broke the roof of the Skydome, Joe Carter, is going to stand by with a chat with the skipper, Don Baylor. Their conversation and more when we return on the leadoff man after this.
Joe and Chip upstairs are going to do a little on camera. People get a chance to see Joe for the first time as a color announcer on a major Cub broadcast, the opening of the season. And then we'll take some of the ceremonies on the field. And then it's baseball, and once you get in the groove, it's like you never left. I mean, it's like riding a bike.
Director Arnie Harris is a well-respected seasoned professional. Arnie and his crew are in complete command of the camera shots, instant replays, and of course, announcers Chip Caray and Joe Carter. When it comes to calling the shots, Arnie's second to none.
2001 Cubs.
Arnie, did you ever think you'd live to see 2001?
Joe, can you kill your key for a second? I don't want you to hear this stuff. Ready red, ready green. Stand by, Chippy. I'm going to be on a little footage, and I'll come to you as you're talking. Okay, pal. Yeah, I won't use a lot of it. Ready? And start green, dissolve green. Go, Chippy.
It's opening day 2001.
And take it out.
And welcome to Cubs baseball, everybody, along with Joe Carter.
Give me a dugout shot, can you, Boise? Yeah, right there's good, boys.
Music.
Ready, dissolve 8.
A lot of new faces on this ball club, some new expectations.
How
about you?
Well, it definitely is, Chip. A win is a win no matter who you play.
We've got 2 horrible years, so we know it's going to be better. It certainly can't be any worse. So it's kind of a fun year because things are going to be better.
As difficult as it is to prepare Wrigley Field each day for baseball, it happens like clockwork. Wrigley Field's ability to operate at the highest level will continue to captivate generations to come. But will it be the same? In the era of Jumbotron scoreboards, Stadium Club restaurants, and overly obtrusive advertising, Wrigley Field has reached a fork in the road. In order to survive in the high-stakes business of baseball, change within the confines seems inevitable. Renovation plans reveal an attempt to add more seats and other small amenities to keep the park competitive without sacrificing its lore. Wrigley Field is a Chicago landmark, and it's quickly on its way to becoming a national one. And as more people continue to visit Wrigley, you can bet the gates will be open for a long time to come.